back to Catch All Media. My name is Andrew, and it is about 7:45 in the morning, so I have my cup of coffee. Damn fine cup of coffee. Shout out to Twin Peaks. But this morning we are going to talk about one of my other favorite labels. We did Criterion a couple days ago, might have been about a week now. But today we are going to get into Eureka Entertainment, as I tell you about 5 of my favorite releases that I have in my collection. Eureka is a company that I had not gotten into until about 3 months ago, maybe even less. And from that time till now, I think I've gotten about 20 releases. So out of those, I'm going to pick my 5 favorites, and we're going to get right into it. So let's go. First up on the list is a very recent release. That is El Gran Silencio. So I'm not going to do these in any like 5 to 1 order. I will tell you which one is my absolute favorite, so I guess there will be a number 1. But the first one we're going to talk about is El Gran Silencio. First, I have to say that this package that Eureka put out is absolutely beautiful. I won't take too much time to go through it, but we will look at some art cards that came with it. So you got a couple there, you got about 5. And then this inside cover is absolutely immaculate as well. Let's see, no glare somewhere. All right. But with that being said, the packaging from Eureka is always spectacular. I love when they do these hardcover, well, not hardcover, but really nice slip cases for these. They've done quite a few for the Masters of Cinema collection, as well as their Hong Kong titles, which I absolutely love. Speaking of Hong Kong titles, we will see more of those. But to talk about this one, this was a spaghetti western that really caught me off guard. I don't believe I've ever seen a Klaus Kinski film until now. And this other guy who is in the movie, Jean-Loup Trintignant, I probably should have Googled that, but that's okay. He was fantastic as well, playing the character of Silence. I'm not going to get too much into the plot here. I just want to talk about the fact that the acting and the visuals, the cinematography in this movie is fantastic. The story is told very well. It is a more bleak spaghetti western than a lot of them. I won't spoil anything. I don't want to say anything else because it is a fantastic movie and you should see it. Klaus Kinski as well as Jean-Loup do a fantastic job in both of their roles. Jean-Loup playing the Silence, which, by his name, he doesn't speak. And we find out why that is, and the story plays out. And, the ending and I would say the last act is absolutely fantastic. I need to go back and rewatch it because as much as I did enjoy it, I felt like I should have enjoyed it more. And I think maybe just that day I wasn't in the right headspace to, deal with this film. And that's all I'll say. So number 5 is going to be El Gran Silencio, a fantastic release from Eureka. And let's move on to the next one. The next one is going to be Full Alert from Ringo Lam. Fantastic release again with the slipcover, and then the inside is no reversible art, but we do get some inside art here. So you see that scene where he goes to visit him in the prison. This is a fantastic cat and mouse type of movie, if you want to say that. So it's about this group of thieves who are planning a big heist, and one of their members, who is this guy, gets caught by this guy beforehand, and they send him to prison. And then the whole story plays out where those two characters, the cop and the criminal, chase each other back and forth throughout the movie. For most of the movie, the criminal is in prison, yada yada yada. Don't want to do any spoilers or anything, but these two go back and forth throughout this whole movie. And the best part about this movie, besides the action and the fact that Ringo Lam directed it, when you get a Ringo Lam film, you know what you're getting. You're getting very, very harsh violence. You're getting fantastic dialogue. You're getting great action sequences. And the storytelling from what I've seen from Ringo Lam has been beautiful. So when you get a Ringo Lam film, you get all of that. But besides that, you do get this beautiful relationship between this cop and this criminal that he is battling throughout this movie, who is a part of this other organization who does play into it, but the main focus is on the two of them and their relationship and how it evolves, devolves, how it shapes itself, and how that ultimately affects the climax of the film. So I cannot recommend Full Alert enough. I would say between the two Ringo Lam releases from Eureka, being Wild Search and Full Alert, that I would watch Wild Search before this one if I was going to do a rewatch, but still definitely worth your time, and that is Full Alert from Eureka, directed by Ringo Lam. Continuing with our celebration of Ringo Lam as we talk about Wild Search. Another fantastic cover. I think that this cover sells this movie in a different way than what it really is, because this looks like it's a heroic bloodshed movie, and there are very strong elements of heroic bloodshed in here, and I believe if you were going to be technical, it would be classified as heroic bloodshed. But I would say that this is more of a story drama piece type of movie. And that's not to say that there isn't action. There's beautiful action in this movie. Of course, directed by Ringo Lam, which we were just talking about. You get your booklet in here. You get all of the regular Eureka extras. And I love this inside shot here. So if you've seen this movie, you know how good it is. You know the story. You know the plot. This is not for you, this explanation. But for those who haven't seen it, I'm about to sell you very quickly. So this is a movie about Chow Yun-fat, who plays a cop who rescues this little girl who has witnessed a murder. So then the guys who murdered this little girl are trying to track her down, and Chow Yun-fat gets involved by protecting her, and then basically it turns into a movie where these killers are trying to track down Chow Yun-fat in relation to this little girl, and he gets tangled up, and it really just becomes a big fight back and forth between Chow Yun-fat and this group of criminals and killers. But the main driving force of this movie is actually the relationship between Chow Yun-fat and the sister of the mother of this child. So the mother of this child was, spoiler, non-spoiler really, because it's the whole plot of the film, but the mother of this child is killed in the very beginning. Then we meet the sister of this mother who takes this child in, and Chow Yun-fat and this woman have a beautiful budding relationship that starts out much like Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn and or Katharine Hepburn and Bringing Up Baby, that kind of dichotomy where they're like cats and dogs, just fighting, but there's that attraction there and there's that chemistry. So that movie, this relationship in this movie is one of the main driving forces that makes it so beautiful. The action in here is fantastic. The thrills are fantastic. The visuals are beautiful. It's a fantastic movie. I can't say fantastic, beautiful enough, because it's absolutely a masterclass. So I definitely recommend picking this up. This is number one. I just wanted to talk about this while we were still talking about Ringo Lam. So for me, this is my favorite Eureka release because it's a fantastic movie, and I cannot recommend Wild Search enough. All right, only two more to talk about, and this next one is absolutely bonkers, and I love it for the fact that it is bonkers, and that is Duel to the Death. If you have not seen this, please go watch this, buy this. If you can buy it, if you can afford it, and it's copacetic, definitely pick it up. It's a beautiful release. But if you can't, then just track it down because you need to see it. It's not always about buying the physical release. It's beautiful when you can have it, and that's exactly what we do. We collect these, we cherish them, but sometimes the money's tight, and if that's the case, just track this down and watch it because it's absolutely bonkers. So the main plot is every 10 years or 100 years, I can't remember exactly, I think it's 10 years, a champion from China and a champion from Japan get together and they have a duel to the death. That's your main premise here. The plot to this movie is not the driving factor of why you need to watch this. I would think that most people would agree with me when you talk about that, but the main driving force to why you need to see this is just absolutely how nuts it is. There's exploding ninjas, there's giant ninjas, there's ninjas with severed heads that explode. It's fantastic. The fights are great. The story that is here is very convoluted but very entertaining. You won't be bored, and the last 20 minutes of this movie is worth the pickup alone because it ends in a way where you're like, yeah, of course. How else would this movie end? It's a ball of fun the whole way through. There's not much that I need to tell you beyond what I just said because it's exactly that. If you pick this up and you're looking for a good time with a bunch of nonsense and some crazy visuals some supplements to take while you're watching this would not hurt. Definitely would help, but a fantastic movie nonetheless, and that is Duel to the Death. So now let's get into the very last one, and it is a double feature, and it is Jackie Chan's Project A 1 and 2. And this is another one that is just so much fun. I had not been very familiar with Jackie Chan before I started picking up Eureka and 88 films. So there's your double. And I believe that one of these might be DVD. Hold on. No, they're both Blu-ray. Okay. And then you get a bunch of extras on here as well. But you do get the two films, Project A, Part 1 and 2. I was not very familiar with Hong Kong movies at all, but, you know, especially Jackie Chan. I'd seen Rush Hour, I'd seen The Medallion, I'd seen whatever, The Lotus or whatever else, you know, crazy, the blank movies Jackie Chan was doing in the early 2000s. You know, growing up in the States, that's what I knew of Jackie Chan. But then getting into Police Story 1 and 2, those were the first two Jackie Chan movies from Hong Kong that I'd seen, and they blew me away. I picked up the Criterion release of that, and I think that we talked about that in the last Criterion release video. But then I had to pick up Project A 1 and 2, and these were just as much fun. Project A has one of the best choreographed fight scenes that I've seen in any movie. Hong Kong, America, Japan, Russia, Australia, doesn't matter. It is one of the best choreographed fight scenes I've ever seen. Project A2 is still very good. You get some awesome elements. There's some cool new characters and little side stories that kind of intertwine throughout it that really make it a great film. But I would say overall, it's lacking a little bit compared to Part 1. But Part 1 is worth the pickup alone. Part 2 is a really, really fun second addition to the series. But definitely two movies that you have to see if you're a fan of Hong Kong cinema, or if you're a fan of Jackie Chan, or if you've only seen him in Rush Hour from when you were a kid, or, you know, in the early 2000s, and you want to get into it. That's definitely a great place to start. Because in my opinion, I would start with Project A 1 and 2, and then I would go into Police Story 1 and 2, because for me, Police Story 1 and 2 are superior. This is such a swerve off the road that we're supposed to be driving on, but out of those four, if I had to rank them, I think I would go number 4 being Project A Part 2, number 3 being Police Story 2, and number 2 being Project A Part 1, and number 1 being Police Story, because Police Story has that ending that's just fantastic. And anyway, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. So Project A 1 and 2 is going to round out our list of Eureka favorite releases. I know this video's got a little bit off the rails at the end there, but I just love Jackie Chan, and I had to take the moment to praise him. But I really hope you guys enjoyed hearing me talk about Eureka. I've fallen in love with this label. Let's get a little last view of this. There are all 5 releases. If you're only going to pick up one of these 5, I think it should be Wild Search. And after that, if you're only going to pick up another one, I think it should be Duel to the Death. Not because it's a superior movie to El Gran Silencio or Project A 1 and 2 or any of the other ones on this list, but because it's just so much fun, guys. It's bonkers. It's nuts. So with that being said, these were my favorite releases from Eureka. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me down below what you guys are watching from Eureka, or any more suggestions, because even though the whole representation of my collection for Eureka is not represented in this video, you guys, there's so many Eureka releases that I haven't seen, and you guys can definitely point me in the direction of some more fun ones. So please do that down below. If you want to come back and hang out with us here, us being me and you, go ahead and subscribe, leave a like, all that cool fun stuff. And if not, that's okay too, because I'm still coming back either way. So thank you guys so much, and talk to you again soon.